Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana Everything and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, FC Barcelona. Because on the night at the Luis Companys, or should I say the Olympic Stadium, FC Barcelona finally rising to the occasion in a way that they haven't really for quite some time in the Champions League here, as they put away Napoli by 3-1, goals coming courtesy of Fermin Lopez, Robert Lewandowski and João Cancelo in what was quite honestly one of the best performances we've seen by Barcelona this season, and probably their best in the Champions League, considering that they weren't just up against a bunch of pushovers. They weren't up against like an Antwerp or something like that. And wow, I'm just happy, to be quite honest. There's a lot to be happy about for us Barcelona fans. I mean, when you saw the team go 2-0 up within like 17 minutes, was it 19 minutes? There was a part of you which was wondering like, oh no, are they going to be able to hold on to this 2-goal lead? They weren't able to hold on to the 2-goal lead, but still they managed to see off the game. And this being a match review, we're going to do some of that usual stuff with the match reviews, meaning that I'm going to take you through my negatives and positives from the performance. Then we're going to give a team rating as well as a manager rating, and of course pick a man of the match. So if this is your first time tuning in here, this is usually how a match review will go unless otherwise. So feel free to go ahead and just hit that like button and to just hit subscribe down there as well and join the family, because we just recently hit 8k subs, and what better way to celebrate hitting 8k than to put 3 past Napoli and find yourselves in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So we'll get to who we're going to face when we get there. Obviously there are no more easy opponents at this stage, not like there were any for Barca this season, but let's just go ahead and talk about these negatives and positives. And I'll start with negatives because we did have some negatives, and it just continues to be maybe those periods when Barcelona lacks control in a game. I would say up until the second half, and particularly in the second half, about the 70th minute, 75th minute, somewhere there, Barcelona didn't really have control of this game, for extended periods. In fact, the first half saw like the control of the game shifting quite a bit, and Barcelona managing to score 2 quick goals when they were on top, and Napoli could have easily equalized as well in this game. They missed quite a good chance, Lindstrom putting a header wide when the game was still at 2-1. So there's that as well. There's the fact that Oriol Romeu and João Cancelo both kind of had some borderline suicidal moments in our box, which could have easily led to goals for Napoli. But that didn't happen, so we'll move on. We'll take the fact that that didn't happen, but we'll keep it in mind as a negative that this team continues to struggle dominating a match, and that's going to be something which could bite us in the rear end come the quarterfinals. Okay, enough with negatives. Let's get into positives. And man, the first positive has got to be La Masia. Because if someone came up to you last season and said that Barcelona next season will be in a must-win round of 16 tie at home, and they are going to start Fermin Lopez, Lamine Yamal, and Pau Cubarsí in those games, you would have probably been like, are you crazy, man? That's not going to happen. But that's exactly what happened here. And like I said, it's a positive because these kids straight out of La Masia, more or less, some of whom didn't even get to play for Barcelona B, just came through into the first team, and now look what they're doing for us. At the time when Barcelona needed it the most, La Masia once again pulling through, and man, what a performance that we saw here from Pau Cubarsí, from Lamine Yamal and Fermin Lopez. I can definitely say without a shadow of doubt, Barcelona would not have made it this far in the Champions League if they didn't have those 3 kids in the starting 11, which is saying a lot, because we did see not so long ago Ivan Rakitic coming through and saying, well, Barcelona kicked out some of the old players too soon, and they relied on the young players too soon, and there could be some truth in that, but at the end of the day, right now we're where we are because of these young players. So we just have to appreciate that, and a big nod to the kids. The next positive here was just, I have to give it to the crowd. The atmosphere in that stadium felt like Camp Nou, and I'm not even playing. Like, I do not remember any moment this season when the home crowd has been as loud as it was today, has been as alive as it was. And in those moments when Napoli were, trying to keep the ball, passing it around, they really felt that hostility, and they gave a lot of energy to Barcelona's players whenever they were pressing. The pressing today from Barca, man, that's also another positive in itself. But for now, let's focus on that crowd. And pre-match, in the pre-match press conference, Xavi did basically call out the Culés, and it was like, yo, pull up. What I'm saying? Show up. And man, they did show up. Okay, they showed up for the showdown and showed out till they showed off, or showed off till they showed out. Yeah, it probably won't make sense, but just take what I said, okay? Shout out Shorty Horror. And my third and final positive is, of course, that general energy that Barcelona played with here, and just also the style, the panache, that little pizzazz, that swagger Barcelona played with, especially in that first half, the way the ball was being moved around. If you look at that second goal in particular, the way the ball just moved from one end of the pitch to the other before the Napoli players could really realize what was happening. João Cancelo was tapping the ball into an empty net, and it was just masterful the way Barcelona did. And I just kept on wondering, looking at that goal, looking at the third goal as well, when Sergio Roberto just came through, like, man, that move with Gundogan, Roberto, Lewandowski, and you're just wondering, like, why can we not play like this all of the time? And my fourth and final positive, I think, has to go with Xavi and his substitutions, because I'll hold my hands up and admit it, okay? When I saw Sergio Roberto and Oriol Romeu coming on at the same time, I was a bit skeptical, and I was wondering, like, is this what Barcelona needs right now? Is Xavi really sure he wants to do that? Is this a risk he wants to take? And man, I just have to say, from the moment Sergio Roberto stepped onto that pitch, he basically took over that midfield, and he showed why he's a captain, and he showed that really he's one of Barcelona's last guys to touch a Champions League trophy in their colors. And man, he was just, it's crazy. We're not always going to get that kind of level of performance from Sergio Roberto. That much is obvious. But when we do get it, I think just like he won us that match against Almeria, I'm always going to just give him his flowers. And this is one performance from Sergio Roberto that he deserved those flowers, because he brought everything that was needed. Like, he actually stepped up what Fermin was giving us, not just making runs into the final third and pressing high, but actually retaining the ball and keeping it for spells. And we wouldn't have been able to do that if we didn't have both Roberto and Gundogan on the pitch. Also, of course, shout out to the fact that bringing on Roberto and Romeu meant that Gundogan can move higher up the pitch, and he didn't have to worry about all the defensive stuff. So, overall, Xavi and his substitutes, they really sealed the deal for Barca. Okay, let's now talk team ratings. And what other rating can you give? Honestly speaking, looking at everybody who started from, back to front, Ter Stegen in goals, Koundé and João Cancelo as the wingbacks, Cubarsí and Araujo as the centre backs, everybody just, I felt like everybody had a good game. Of course, Napoli did get to score because of that one moment when, you're obviously going to end up conceding that kind of a goal when you're playing Gundogan as the holding midfielder, because he's not going to track that Rana who happened to be a centre back from Napoli, which was a good goal by them, by the way, I should admit that. But at the end of the day, I couldn't really pick out anybody and say that they had a poor performance. I mean, the only person who I could say he could have had a better performance was Lewandowski, but at the end of the day, he still stepped up once again like he did last week. He got the crucial goal for us when we needed it that killed the game off. So honestly speaking, for the team rating, I'm going with a 9 out of 10, and that's for the manager. We're going to go with an 8.5 out of 10. I'm going with that because I felt that he could have made a few tweaks to how Barcelona was set up during that first half, just to keep the game, or just to keep the scoreline at 2-0 going into halftime. And it was a bit naive of him to keep on playing with so much of a high line, I thought. But at the end of the day, he made those subs that did clutched the game for Barcelona. And so, like I said, for Xavi, he gets an 8 out of 10. And that just leaves us with picking the man of the match. And man, who else am I going to go with except Pau Cubarsí? I mean, did you see the performance from this kid? Okay, 17 years old, Champions League quarterfinal, or Champions League round of 16 tie, must win by the way, and up against one of the best strikers that we've seen over the past 3 seasons. Like, serious. The only guys who've been ahead of Victor Osimhen the past 3 seasons have been Haaland and Harry Kane. That's about it. And Pau Cubarsí handled himself like a champ. I mean, just look at the stats. You know, obviously I'll flash them on the screen. Look at the stats from his performance. He won 100% of his duels. That's ridiculous, guys. For a kid to come through and just perform at that level at center back, that's just amazing. And for me, I think he's the man of the match, just like, you know, he was for UEFA as well. You see him there posing with that trophy. And aside from that, guys, that's it. Let me know your thoughts though in the comment section. I mean, it was a nice win for Barca. It was nice. It's good to have this much positivity, you know, especially going with that Atletico de Madrid matchup next. It's good to go into that with a measure of confidence, which is exactly what this win has done for Barca. It's give the team more confidence. But aside from that, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and Forza Barca.